everyone, how are you feeling today? This is LRS everyone coming at you with my Deskbot deck profile. Now, I'm for example feeling really tired because I had to do some particular thing in the morning, which is pretty much a medical check in the morning, and I'm really tired from that. Anyway, I had to wake up in 3 o'clock. But anyway, before we begin on my personal take on Deskbot monsters, that I wanted to take out of the way, just tell you guys if I'm feeling a little bit weird. But another thing is, we want to ask you guys for the Duel Links, Let's Play that Squishy Prime's doing in the future, and if you do not know who that guy is from The Voice, I will leave the last video which I talked with him at the end slate of this video. But anyway, we want to ask you for his Duel Links Let's Play. I think he want to start a new account. I'm not 100% sure about that. But if he is, I'm going to ask you Yugi or Kaiba. Because we want to see which one you want him to start with. I don't think it's really matter, but just for funsies, we want to see which one you want to choose. So yeah, that's pretty much it for that, for anything else. And without further ado, let's get started with my unique Deskbot deck profile. So to start things off, you want to run one copy of Deskbot 1. Deskbot 1, in my opinion, you don't really need more than one because he's allowed to special summon himself for the graveyard. If you special summon 2 machine monsters at the same time, he's a tuning level 1, which kind of conflict with a pendulum summoning, but doesn't really matter that much. And he's also have the ability to gain 500 defense for each machine on the field, which is pretty cool. Next up is 3 copies of Deskbot 2. My opinion, second best Deskbot monster. His effect is when you special summon this card, you can add a Deskbot card from your deck to your hand. All machine monster you control except himself gain 500 attack. And his searching effect is not a hard once per turn. Now you might ask yourself, how the heck do I do special summon this guy except for machine duplication? How the heck do I get his effect 3 times? Well, for that we have a Deskbot 3. Deskbot 3, which unfortunately I'm proxying one because I do not have a third one, but his effect is allow you to, when he's normal summoned, to special summon Deskbot monster directly from your deck. And then once per turn during either player's turn, you can target one Deskbot monster you control, it gaining 500 attack and defense for each Deskbot card you control until the end of the turn. He can also not special summon himself from the deck, so that's pretty much it for that as well. And pretty much he's the best Deskbot monster and the one you want to see at the start of your hand as soon as possible, and I have a specific engine to see him even more faster. Next up, you want to run triple copies of Deskbot 4. Pretty much you're taking care of monsters in the battle phase because his effect is allowing you to dump a Deskbot monster when you battle an opponent monster, and then gaining its attack double its level. Your opponent do not take damage, but he have the ability to destroy the monster, and if he destroys the monster, you can special summon 2 Deskbot monster from your hand or deck. No, not hand or deck. I think it's hand or graveyard. Yeah, it's hand or graveyard, which is really cool. And he's pretty much has to be different levels, and they're also supposed to be special summon in defense position. But they're really cool effect and help you swarm the board if you just want to get rid of an opponent monsters on the way too. Next up, you want to run triple copies of Deskbot 5 and triple copies of Deskbot 6. Sorry about that. But anyway, in my opinion, the last 6 Deskbot monsters you actually need in the main deck. I'm not running 7, 8, or 9 because I think they're a little bit cloggy, but I just will let you guys know what cards I would suggest to take out if you want to run them. But anyway, Deskbot 5 and 6. Their effect in the scale is pretty much the same. You can special summon any monster except Deskbot monster for a pendulum summon, and then their other effect is that when they're normal summon, both of them or special summon giving you an effect. So this guy pop a spell and trap, and this guy switch a monster battle position. As well, they both getting 500 attack for each Deskbot monster in the extra deck. And this card, when he's destroying a pendulum zone, he's adding you a Deskbot card from your graveyard to your hand, and this one special summon a Deskbot monster. So those 2 cards are really crucial to the deck, and I'm thinking like running less than 16 Deskbot monsters, those 16 in my opinion, is pretty bad. I'm not running 7, 8, or 9 because they're cloggy, as well as not base, but this is pretty much what I think is the best Deskbot lineup. Next up, we are running triple copies of Guitar, and 2 copies of mics to just, if I just want to have a second one in the off chance that I will see that's in my opening hand, it will still have guitar to use this effect. And you already know what this engine does. because it's pretty much a Seraphonite. It's a kind of a Brilliant Fusion engine just for, more budgets, and just a really fun in general as well. Next up, you want to run a very, very unique engine that I actually discovered really recently that is really good. And that is triple copies of Ancient Gear Wyvern and one copy of Ancient Gear Box. Now, if you do not know what Ancient Gear Box effect is pretty much says, when this card is added from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except by drawing it, you can add one Earth Machine monster, not Ancient Gear monster, with 500 attack or defense from your deck to your hand, except Ancient Gear Box. You can only use this effect once per turn, of course. But it's really cool because this is a way for you to see up your Ancient Gear, not Ancient Gear, but Deskbot 3, which is really important. And because you don't have really much ways to search Deskbot 3, except from Deskbot 2 when it's special summoned, and you prefer Deskbot 3 to special summon Deskbot 2, this is another way to see Deskbot 3 in your opening hand as soon as possible, or worst case scenario, see another Deskbot monster you need, and as well, you have another target for Wyverns that also synergize with Box, but I will get to that when we'll get to the spells. So that pretty much does it for the monsters. I believe that's 28 monsters. I believe so. No, it's 25 monsters. Sorry. Now we'll move on for the spells. So for the spells, we're running triple copies of Machine Duplication. Don't really need any further explanation. You have a lot of monsters with 500 attack and defense, and just being able to special summon 2 of them to your side of the field is pretty crazy, especially 2. Next up is Ancient Gear Workshop. This is the other target for Ancient Gear Wyvern, and if you have Box in your hand with this effect, you basically getting another search. And then also one limiter removal for generic, what are called? Generic machine support, and just end your opponent face. And then one copy of Instant Fusion, just because if I need an Infinity or just an extender on the board, it's really nice to have another machine to overextend and just do whatever you want. And then one copy of Monster Reborn because it's off the ban list, and if it's on the ban list, why not use it? One copy of Regeki, one copy of Dark Hole, and then 2 copies of Cosmic Cyclone to deal up with back row and a lot of monsters on the board. And that pretty much does it for that. And then the last 3 spells are actually there's another spell before that I actually forgot, and that is one copy of Foolish Burial because it send your Deskbot 1 to the graveyard. I actually forgot about the spell when I put it. But anyway, the last 3 cards to basically help the deck a lot, in my opinion, also helpful going second, is 3 copies of Mind Control. Mind Control is a really cool card and is able to take control of your opponent's monsters. Now, like I said, if you do not want Mind Control, I would recommend to run one of each of the high-level Deskbot monsters. I don't recommend run more than one each, but you can do whatever you want. And the other card I would recommend to switch is with Foolish Burial for Deskbot base, unless you want to run multiple copies of Deskbot base. And that pretty much does it for the main deck. Now we'll move on for the extra deck. So for the extra deck, of course, 1 Nova, 1 Infinity. Not even a question, you want to run those 2 cards. I'm actually considering even bumping those cards up to 2 each, but in my opinion, at least 1 is pretty much a staple. Like, you have to run it. 1 copy of Gear Giga Knight X because it's a searcher if you needed to. 1 copy of Heavy Armored Train Iron Wolf because it's a really good card to finish your opponent, as well as 1 copy of Gaga Cowboy because sometimes, for this specific deck, this 800 points of damage can mean from the way of winning or losing a game. So having Gaga Cowboy is a really cool burning effect, and being able to just, get rid of an annoying, 800 life points is really cool. Also, his monster effect is pretty nice in attack position, but you want to use this effect in defense position just to help you finish games that you literally cannot finish without this 800 burn damage. Now for the Link monsters, I'm running 1 copy of Underclock Taker for OTKs, 1 Mrs. Radiant for OTKs as well, and just boost your monsters. 1 copy of Akashic Magician because she's a really cool card in order to get rid of, annoying extra deck monsters, or just in general, any annoying monster in general. And then 1 copy of Clifford Genius because they're all machines, and why not use discard effects, and just being able to attack more safer going second. As well, just in general, it has a searching effect. So if you activate Machine Duplication and you summon, for example, 2 2s, you're getting another search. So that's really cool. One copy of Decon Talker, because if you use Mind Control or whatever, and you can just take the opponent monster and use it for a Decon Talker, or just in general, if you need additional more space and you need something really strong to sit on, this can be a really, really strong card to sit on. So that's really, really cool. And that pretty much does it for the Link monsters. Now for the Synchro monsters, sorry, I'm running one copy of Barkion, which is supposed to be Beast, Notoria Beast, but I don't have Notoria Beast, so Barkion is the second best option because it also negate traps, so that's really, really nice. One copy of Black Rose for board wipes and triggering your pendulum effects, and one copy of Deskbot Jet, because Deskbot Jet is a really cool card, and he's basically your boss monster of Deskbot, but you don't really need more than one. And then for the fusion monsters, this is supposed to be a Panther Dragon, but I don't have a Panther Dragon, so this is pretty much Regine supposed to be a placeholder. However, I recommend it to be Panther Dragon just to make Infinity a little bit more summonable if you do not want to use 2 level 5s of your, main deck monsters. And then I'm also running one copy of Mekaba, which can be any fusion machines that you want, because if your opponent just pretty much negate your Cyber Dragon Nova summon, I want an ability to, summon a monster instead of it that can devastate my opponent, and Mekaba, in my opinion, is the best option. And that pretty much does it for the main deck and extra deck. No side deck this time because I didn't have the time to put a side deck, but that pretty much does it for that. So once again, hope you guys enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and remember, creativity is the key in this game. Have a good day, guys, and stay safe. And I think I'm going to go to sleep really soon, like I'm super tired. So, good night, everybody, I guess, as well.